weeks to go, let the games begin. It's a fantasy league. Gonna make some noise within. Got my team assembled, ready to take the crown. I'll dominate this league, tear it down to the ground. I've got my strikers up top, ready to score the goals. Midfield maestro in the show, control the flow. Defensive wall standing tall, won't let them through. Goalkeeper with the gloves, gonna save me too. 38 weeks to go, gonna rule this game. I'm the boss, yeah, I'll take fame with my fantasy team. Gonna rise to the top, no one can stop me. Gonna make them drop.
Hello everybody, and welcome to 38 Weeks to Go, your weekly podcast about fantasy football. Game week 35 is done. Chelsea and Tottenham have just finished the game. I couldn't record earlier because the last time I wanted to record before game week ended, Palmer scored 4 goals, and that changed everything. So, given that Palmer was playing again, I just had to be safe. Guys, there are 3 weeks left to go. Just 3. How was game week 35 for you? Probably not as great as the double game week, but not too bad either. For me, I think I'm finishing strong this season. I got 80 points. Like I told you guys, I was done with Salah. Done. So in order not to captain him, I removed him. I replaced him with Bruno Fernandes, and I also brought in Isak, like I said I would. Fernandes was a bit of a letdown. He only got me 4 points. He had a good chance in the game, but it wasn't meant to be. Isak, on the other hand, was my captain. I was rewarded instantly by him getting 26 points as my captain. Salah got 2. Never been so happy to remove Salah from my team. I was a bit worried because I wasn't sure whether Palmer or Son would shine, but I didn't even bring in Son. I just thought those fixtures were too tough. Palmer ended up with 8 points, so it's not bad, but it's just not a great return for a double game week. It's just kind of like the one Haaland had earlier in the season. Isak was my top performer with 26 points, followed by Kai Havertz, who had 13 points. He has been amazing for me. Gordon, who performs at home, got 10. Palmer got 8. Akanji 8. Bruno Fernandes 4. Onana 4. Ait Nouri, Solanke and Mateta 2. And then Ben White 1. Eze was my starter, but he got injured. He didn't play. So, he was subbed on by Solanke. My biggest regret is having Senesi so far on the bench because he had 13 points. So with 80, I'm pretty happy. I believe I will finish the season strongly. There were 4 clean sheets this weekend. The highest scoring game this week came at the hands of Newcastle 5, Sheffield 1. Sheffield are getting just that much closer to conceding 100 goals. Newcastle did their part, although I won't lie, for a little bit there I was scared. Hodzic scored in 5 minutes, and I was thinking, oh no, that's it. Isak was the wrong captain choice. Until 26 minutes when Jacob Murphy set him free with a really beautiful pass. It was a nice through pass. He got on it and finished it. And then I was just like, thank goodness. And after then on, it was pretty much game over. Right after the half, Bruno Guimaraes scored a nice header from a lovely free kick from Aaron Gordon. Gordon was then brought down 7 minutes later, and Isak connected. And then 4 minutes later, there was an own goal. And then 6 minutes later from that, Callum Wilson scores off an assist from Harvey Barnes, and it's 5-1. And that's it. Game done. Isak ended up with the 3 bonus points. Gordon ended with 2, and Bruno Guimaraes with 1. For me, the goal of the weekend came in the Crystal Palace versus Fulham game. A man by the name of Schlupp scored a worldie. No keeper in the world would have been able to save that. In terms of a bit of a pleasant result, Everton won, Brentford 0. Idris Ganageye continues scoring. That's his second goal in a row. Everton somehow squeezed a winner, and if you've been stacking up on the defenders, well done to you. They have been delivering for the last 3 weeks. In terms of a disappointing game, we can't look no farther than Liverpool 2, West Ham 2. Liverpool are supposed to be contending, but I think now they're just number 3. That's just done. It's over. Their title challenge has collapsed. Alexander Mutune is a Liverpool fan. His challenge is collapsing as well, right before our eyes. So I'm wondering if those two things are linked with each other. Don't mind me, I'm just a hater. Another disappointing result is Manchester United 1, Burnley 1. The reason I got Fernandes was because I thought they were just going to demolish this team. In fairness, they had the better chances, they created more, they hit the post. They were the better team. But football isn't about the better team, it's just about scoring goals. And they only managed to score 1, and it was off a mistake from Burnley. If Burnley don't make that mistake, it's possible that Burnley win 1-0. Football is not fair. The marquee game of the weekend was Arsenal versus Spurs. It ended Arsenal 3, Spurs 2. This game was over by halftime. Højbjerg on goal, Bukayo Saka beautiful goal, Kai Havertz good header. Mickey van de Ven's goal was ruled for offside, and it is one of the tightest things you'll ever see. But it was ruled offside. Arsenal scored 4 minutes later, and that sort of killed the game and the morale. After the half, Spurs did better. They had dominated this game in terms of possession and chances, but football favors those who score. Romero scored 1 goal, and Son scored a penalty to bring it back to something that looked respectable. The trolls were saying that Arsenal let them get back in so that they could have some fight for Man City when the time comes. I lost my faith in Spurs a bit of a while back, and I am happy I made that decision. Son hasn't been great. Him and Salah, since the Cups, they have not been good. Havertz had the 3 bonus points, Saka had 2, and Rice had 1. Looking at the top performing players of this game week, it is clear that the double game week was good if you chose the right Chelsea players. The right Chelsea players were Chalobah, Gallagher, and Madueke. Chalobah was a top performer of the week with 17 points. Gallagher was a second, tied with Madueke and Vardiol with 15. Havertz, Senesi, Isak, and Bowen were all tied with 13 points. Looking at the goalkeepers, Petrovic was a top performing keeper with 11. Pickford was second with 10. Muric from Burnley was third with 8. And that's a lot considering he didn't save a penalty. He made 9 saves and he got 3 bonus points. In 4th place, Travers from Bournemouth had 6. And in 5th, Onana with 4 points. When it comes to defenders, Chalobah was a top performing defender with 17 points, followed by Vardiol, then Senesi in 3rd with 13, Totti, who scored a good header, in 4th, and Robertson from Liverpool with 9 points. The top midfielders were Gallagher from Chelsea with 15, Madueke with 15, Kai Havertz and Bowen tied with 13, Saka with 12, De Bruyne with 11, Idris Ganageye with 10 along with Gordon. When it comes to forwards, Isak was top performer with 13, Unal from Bournemouth with 12, Nicholas Jackson with 8, Amdouni with 7, along with Morris and Antonio. So as you can see, it wasn't quite the regular performers that we would have been leaning towards. There is still potential for differentials, everyone. Keep your eyes peeled. Now for some random facts. Aston Villa have won 20 Premier League games this season. The last time they won 20 or more games was in 1992-93. They won 21. So they are having an amazing season. Former favorite Harry Kane is having an amazing season. He has played 43 games and he has 44 goals and 11 assists across all competitions. Wow. Bundesliga fantasy for anyone? Bukayo Saka is the first English player since Ian Wright to score both home and away against Tottenham in a single season. Pep Guardiola has the most wins of any manager in his first 300 games in the Premier League. He is number 1 with 221, Mourinho is number 2 with 189, and Jurgen Klopp is number 3 with 188. KDB has now gotten more Premier League assists in 2024 than Bruno Fernandes and James Maddison have had all season. Thiago Silva is leaving Chelsea at the end of the season, and it's quite possible that he might be one of the best free transfers of all time. In that time at Chelsea, he has won 1 Champions League, 1 FIFA Club World Cup, 1 UEFA Super Cup, and he was Chelsea's player of the season. This man is 40. You couldn't ask for more of him. Anthony Gordon continues his sensational form at home. But the craziest thing is that he is the opposite player away from home. Just listen to this. At home, he has 9 goals, 13 assists, and 131 points. So he's averaging 7.7 points per match. Away from home, he has 1 goal, 2 assists, and 38 points. He's averaging 2.5 points away from home. Meaning, just put him on your bench when he's away from home. If you want to hear about this in another way, he has blanked at home once, and he has blanked 13 times away from home. This weekend, the top captains were Erling Haaland, Cole Palmer, and Salah. 3 million people captained Haaland, 2 million captained Palmer, and 893 captained Salah. I would have been one of those guys if I hadn't removed him from my team. Alexander Isak has scored in 7 consecutive home matches. There's just something about Newcastle players at home. In a bit of manager news, Klopp's replacement has been announced. It's going to be Arne Slot. I hope I'm saying it well. He is the current manager of Feyenoord, and he will be taking over at the end of the season. There is strong speculation that Ten Hag will be fired at the end of the season, and according to sources, they're saying Thomas Tuchel could be a serious contender. Let's see. Would you prefer him or Gareth Southgate? It is official. Leicester will be back. Verdi will be back next season. Let's hope they do better than they did last time around. Congratulations to Leicester on their promotion. Kudus is the first player in Europe's top 5 leagues to complete 100 take-ons this season. In case you didn't see it, Salah and Klopp had a bit of a spat. At the end of the game, Klopp said, "It's done. We've settled it." When Salah was asked, he said, "If I speak, there will be fire." I'm not sure about you guys, but this should really influence how you decide to handle Salah in the next 3 game weeks. Will he play? Will he start? And if you're a Liverpool fan, will he stay? A fascinating stat. Rodri has completed 70 consecutive matches without being defeated in a Manchester City shirt. Basically, as long as he's playing, Manchester City do not lose. Talk about one man making a difference. Arsenal this season have scored the most goals. They've conceded the fewest goals. They have the most clean sheets and have the highest goal difference. That really is champion material. But let's see how it unfolds. In some random news, the Premier League have agreed to a spending cap. If you watch basketball or American sports, then this idea won't be too foreign to you. But basically, they want to bridge the gap between the haves and the have-nots, and they think this is the way to go. It's a bit confusing because even if they do this, they're still bound to the FFP, but they're hoping that this will minimize the chances of Everton and Nottingham Forest point deduction type situations. They haven't quite voted on exactly what the meat of the terms will be, but they've just voted on the general idea. So this is a story that will continue to develop. I like the idea in principle, but in practice, I don't think it's going to give them what they think they want. Moving on. As you may remember, Aston Villa are the only side from England remaining in Europe. This has had consequences, as this means Germany will take the extra Champions League space and not England. As we have Leverkusen still in Europe, we have Dortmund and Bayern still in the Champions League. It would have been interesting to have maybe Spurs and Aston Villa in the Champions League next season, but alas, it was not meant to be. The least points to ever survive in the Premier League is 34, and this was done by West Brom in 2004-05. Since Nottingham Forest, who are currently 17th on 26, have 3 games left. With Luton on 25 and Burnley on 24, it seems very unlikely that this record will last, because if Nottingham win their next 3 matches, they'll need 35. So it'll be something interesting to see. History will be made. But maybe it just also goes to show how big the disparity is. The top is powerful and the bottom is proper trash. As in, these guys cannot even get to 34 points. Spurs have kept 2 clean sheets in the last 25 games. Bowen has scored his 20th goal this season in this game week that just ended. 16 in the Premier League. I knew he was having a good season, I just didn't realize how great it was. For some reason, there were 6 wildcards active in our group. 6. I don't understand why you guys didn't use them last week. Don't Bottle It, Dark Horse, Phoenix Razors, Dimori FC, Bite, and Cheese Garnachos used the wildcards. 6 of our managers dropped Salah, so well done to you guys. I don't know if you were listening to me, but you were rewarded. LED was trying to capitalize the most from this game week, and he had 6 players playing twice. Another player that lost favor within our group was Luis Diaz, with 6 managers getting rid of him. I think our group is probably done with Liverpool. Unless, of course, you're Leon Mortier who captained Salah. Pole sana, bro. Son was the most brought in player this week, with 9 managers bringing him in, followed by Isak, who was brought in by 6 managers, Pedro Porro, Gordon, Bruno Fernandes were brought in by 5 managers, Nicholas Jackson by 4, Shaw, Maguire, De Bruyne were brought in by 3, along with Foden. For those of you who brought in KDB, well done. Like I said earlier, Luis Diaz and Salah were the most removed players from our team, with 6 managers letting him go. Then Haaland was sold by 5 managers, including me. And then Darwin Núñez was sold by 4, along with Eze, Solanke, Virgil van Dijk, and Saka. Wow. Sorry for those Saka guys. The top 5 most transferred in players globally for this coming game week are Isak, KDB, Vardiol, Haaland, and Gordon. The most transferred out players this game week are Salah, Solanke, Darwin Núñez, Schär, and Virgil van Dijk. The highest points in this game week was 132. The average for the game week was 52. So, if you got above 52, well done. You're above the global average. The average for our group was 58. The top points getter this week was Hans Gruber, Bonaji, formerly known as Mr. 100. He got 86 points. He took a hit of -20, but I guess it worked. Number 2 was Simnani Jua, goodness gracious me, with 82 points. Number 3 was me with 80 points. Number 4 was LED, the man who had 6 transfers, or rather 6 people playing twice, with 78. And then at number 5, we have Tommy Oladipo with 68 points. Now, our table has been very competitive. At the top, we have a new leader, Simnani Jua. He got 82 points. He chose Palma as his captain, and that ultimately carried him over Vic City number 2. He got 82 points, like I said, which gives him a total of 2179 points. Number 2 is Vic City, who got 66, and is now 3 points behind number 1. He has 2176 points. Don't Bottle It this year is bottling it. He got 39 points after using the wildcard. He now has 2143 points. He is 36 points off the pace. 3 weeks, it's still something that's doable. In number 4, we have a new player. Mr. Tommy Oladipo. Leads are going up. I think they will just make it this year. He has 21-25 points, which takes him 3 points above Leon Mortier. Why are you running? His pace has certainly slowed down a bit. He has 21-22 points. It seems like this will only be settled on the last day. Between number 1 and number 5, they're about 57 points. It's not a big gap. A great week can change everything. Between number 5 and number 6, it's roughly 27 points as well. Then between number 6 and number 7 is 40 points, so that number 6 spot might be safe. Between number 7 and number 11, it's just 25 points. So things can change. Between number 12 and number 16 is another 50 points. Between 16 and 17 is 40 points. But then between number 17 and number 21 is roughly 50 points. Between number 21 to 22, it is, 70 points. So that one is a bit harder. And then between number 22 and number 23 is 50 points as well. And then from there you have Melvin, number 24, Mr. Bruno Fernandes, captain, and Al-Shabaab, Mr. Jeremiah Obiri at last, who is 1488. So 24 and 25 are really done. But there's potential for this table to make a lot more moves yet. Nothing is settled. Well, except the bottom. Also, 21 over 25 of us got above 52. Well done. That is just proof of our competitiveness. Now, as we look forward to Game Week 36, it is important to note that Game Week 36 starts tonight, Friday. So please don't forget to make your team. And also, make sure the players that you want to start. Arrange your bench. I only say this because I look at Tina's team and he used his wildcard but he didn't start Palmer. And you know he wanted to start Palmer. So, the game week starts tonight with Luton playing at home taking on Everton. Luton have won their last 2 encounters against Everton with a score of 2-1. But since then, their forms have switched. Everton pretty much the team in form, while Luton are not the team in form. Now, Luton have scored against pretty much everybody. So, the real appeal of Everton is their defense. Pickford and your choice of defenders. Now, this will be tricky because you have to really believe that Luton won't score. But in their last 20 fixtures, only Arsenal have kept them out. So the odds of them not scoring are very low. Morris and Woodrow were the last scorers in this fixture for Luton. Morris is the most likely scorer to come from their squad. Him or Barkley. So those are the 2 players I would recommend. From Everton, Dominic Calvert-Lewin has been great of late. Idris Gana Gueye has been scoring in the last 2 games. This might be 3 in a row. And then Dwight McNeil, if you're looking for people to score. If you're looking for defenders, pretty much Pickford and Branthwaite at this point in time. And Tarkowski. Now, Everton haven't won an away game in their last 10 matches. However, Luton haven't kept a clean sheet in their last 15 matches. So basically, it might be another 2-1. To who? I don't know. On Saturday, we have the early kickoff, which will be Liverpool versus Bournemouth. Arsenal have dominated this fixture. In fact, they won the last one 4-0. For those of you who may not remember, the last time they met, they gave Havertz a penalty. And in a way, that's what kick-started his form. He scored his first goal, and I think he has scored 16 goals since. Basically, I'm telling you, Havertz will be playing for me. I'm trying to decide whether he'll be my captain. In the most recent fixture, Saka, Odegaard, Havertz, and White scored. Those are 4 players I'd recommend. Stick to them. For Bournemouth, Billing, Senesi, Solanke, Kluivert. You know how it is. Bournemouth have so many players and it's so hard to decide. Just choose the one that's working for you. However, they are not good against Arsenal. So don't bank on them in this game. Also, look at Unal for Bournemouth if you're thinking of a striker. They were good last time against Brighton, but Brighton also in poor form. Brentford versus Fulham. These two teams were not great over the weekend. Fulham drew 1-1, while Brentford were beaten by Everton 1-0. In their recent Premier League fixtures, Brentford have the upper hand, having won 2 of 3. Something interesting to note is that in this fixture, the last 5 times these guys played each other in all competitions, the winner has scored 3 goals. So, Brentford won the most recent fixture 3-0. Fulham won the fixture before that 3-2. Brentford won 3-2 before that. Fulham won 3-2 before that. Brentford then won 3-0 before that. So it seems like the winner will score 3 goals in this game. So definitely do not look for a clean sheet in this fixture. So you Leno holders, use your alternate keeper and also substitute your defenders. And on top of that, Brentford and Fulham have not drawn against each other in their last 8 attempts. Brentford are 4 matches unbeaten at home and will be encouraged and maybe favourites, slight favourites. If you're looking for Brentford players, you have to look at Wissa, Mbumo, and your defender could be Pinnock or Ayer. If you are looking at Fulham players, you know Muniz doesn't score away from home, so don't. Although he did score at home the last game, so that was nice. So you have Andreas Pereira, you have Bobby de Cordova-Reid, you have Iwobi, Harry Wilson. Next you have Burnley versus Newcastle. This match is a bit deceptive because everyone will be looking at Newcastle's game at home where they won 5-1 and be thinking they're just going to hammer this promoted side. In their last 8 matches, Burnley have won 2, drawn 5, and lost 1. They are in good form. I think they have finally figured out how to play in the Premier League, but they figured it out too late. I think if they stick with company, they will do better when they come back next time around. Newcastle have the better head-to-head record, obviously. But Newcastle are poor at home. I previously read to you Gordon's away record. It's literally him, Isak, and Bruno Guimaraes who I would recommend in this fixture. And probably a defender if you have any. For Burnley, it would be Amdouni, Lyle Foster, Odobert, Assignon. But I don't see people moving into Burnley for this fixture, even though they're in good form. If there's any reason to be confident in Newcastle, it's that Burnley haven't kept a clean sheet in 18 matches. Also, I don't know how I forgot about this. Brun Larsen is always a good person to have from Burnley. Sheffield United versus Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest absolutely need to win this game, and they're going to hope that Everton do the business tonight and defeat Luton. Nottingham Forest won their previous fixture with Awoniyi and Wood scoring and Hammer scoring for Sheffield. If you saw the Man City game against Nottingham Forest, you know that Wood could have had a hat-trick, and therefore he still remains the strongest scoring chance for Nottingham Forest. Morgan Gibbs-White, Elanga and Callum Hudson-Odoi are the others I would recommend from this team. For Sheffield, you have Hammer, you have Bertrand Diaz, you have McBurney. This is a kind of game where both teams should score. They are nearly at each other's level, but I think Forest have the edge. Sheffield haven't kept a clean sheet in 16 matches and haven't won a match in the previous 11 attempts. Forest are slightly better, but not much better. They haven't scored in their last 2 matches, and they haven't kept a clean sheet in 11 matches as well. So there will be goals in this one. Man City versus Wolves. Now, the last time these guys met, Wolves beat Manchester City. Are we on for a repeat? That Korean guy scored for the first time this year in this previous game week. So he also scored against Man City previously. So everything is set up for him to score again, maybe? This will be very important because Man City absolutely need to win this game. They cannot slip up like they did last time. So the outcome of this game could decide who wins the Premier League. People may be thinking it's Spurs, but this could be the real bogey game for Man City. The last time Wolves really were a problem for Man City was when Nuno Espirito Santo was the manager. Maybe this new manager also has discovered something, a chink in the arm of Man City, as it were. So, let's see. This might be the most interesting game of the weekend. So, if you're looking for Wolves players, that Korean guy, Cunha. That's it. Man City, Haaland, KDB, Foden. And a defender if you're optimistic. Brighton versus Aston Villa. Aston Villa have just been hammered in Europe, and they will be looking to sort of catch up. They lost 4-2 to Olympiacos, and they may decide to rest players for this game. This is the thing about Europe. You really don't know what a manager is going to do because he has to think about Olympiacos, but he also has to beat Brighton. So this is a kind of game where I wouldn't encourage you to lean on Aston Villa. They may be tired as well. Brighton, their opponents, I don't know if you remember this, but they really struggled after European matches. In a way, it may be Europe that derailed their whole season. In fact, it was after one such night that Brighton were hammered 6-1 by Aston Villa. Brighton are in terrible form, so I have no reason to think they will win this game. I still think Aston Villa favourites, but I could see them losing. Being tired from just having played on Thursday, and then having to play again on Thursday, and having to win all these games. Something's got to give. Aston Villa have not lost to Brighton in their last 7 encounters, and they will be looking to maintain that record. Brighton haven't scored in their last 2 games, and they haven't scored at home in their last 2 attempts. In their last 5 fixtures, Brighton have lost 3 and drawn 2. And in their last 5 games, they've only scored 1 goal. So basically, they are struggling. Your best hope for Brighton is probably a clean sheet. But they can't do that either. If for whatever reason you feel like you want to get Brighton players, Buonanotte was super lively against Bournemouth. After that, you could gamble with João Pedro, Fabian Gross, and Adingra. But also, don't gamble on Brighton right now. For Brighton, it's the usual suspects. You have Ollie Watkins, and also somebody who's been sneaky good of late is Rodgers. He is a real differential. And then after that, Bailey and Diaby. Chelsea take on West Ham. Their recent record is split. 2 wins for Chelsea, 2 wins for the Hammers, and a draw. Chelsea have been in much better form of late, and there's reason to be optimistic if you're a Chelsea supporter. Conor Gallagher and Palmer have been the best players, followed by Nicholas Jackson of late. And those are the 3 performers I would choose from Chelsea. And then if you really want to, you could get Chalobah from the defense, but that's about it. From West Ham, you start with Jared Bowen, then you go to Antonio, and then Kudus Paqueta. Now, if you're a bit of a gambling man, West Ham gave away the most penalties this season, and Chelsea have gained the most penalties this season. So, I'm just gonna say, if you have Palmer, you know he's cold. This could also mean that the wingers, the Madueke, those might be the guys who make an impact in this game. The wingers. The marquee game for the weekend is Tottenham versus Liverpool. Liverpool have recently gotten themselves out of the race. In their last 5 matches, they've won 2, lost 2, and drawn 1. And that has taken them out of the running. Tottenham, out of the last 5 games, have lost 3, drawn 1, and won 1. They are in poor form. Looking at the head-to-head, the last time any of these guys kept a clean sheet was in 2020. 4 years ago, just in case you're counting. Meaning that I do not encourage you to have a defender from this game. Unless you believe in like Trent's free kick or Romero scoring a goal. That would literally be it. In their last fixtures, Liverpool have won 2, drawn 2, and lost 1. So Liverpool are favourites. There are always goals in this game. Son, Salah, Diaz are the main top scorers in this fixture. So, if you believe Salah will play, or start even, this will be the game. but I'm not even going to be involved in any such thoughts because I'm done with Salah and Liverpool. But for those of you who aren't done with him, or Liverpool, Salah, Diaz, and maybe McAllister. For Spurs, you have Son. He seems to score in this fixture. Richarlison, Kulevski. With Timo Werner out, at least you know now that Richarlison will play more. A funny record is that Liverpool haven't scored at Anfield in the last 2 games, while Spurs haven't scored in their last 2 away games. So, 0-0? Let's see. The last fixture of the game week will come on Monday night, and it will see Manchester United play against Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace have been very impressive of late, with a famous scalp against Liverpool. And if that does not tell you they can beat anybody, well, it should. Manchester United are not better than Liverpool, and they can be gotten at. In fact, in their last encounter, Manchester United were beaten by Crystal Palace, with Anderson scoring the only goal of the game. Actually, if you look at the last 5 encounters in the Premier League, it's Crystal Palace 2 wins, Man U 2 wins, 1 draw. So for those of you who thought it would be a straight walkover, you're wrong. When Crystal Palace win this game, they win 1-0. When they're beaten, they score. So it seems like there'll be goals in this game. Manchester United feel a bit hard done by the Burnley game. Crystal Palace scored a worldie of a goal. If you haven't seen it, please check it out. So it'll be a fun game to watch. When it comes to choosing players from Manchester United, I would say Garnacho, Fernandes, maybe Anthony. It seems like he's picking up form, but not a defender, not in this game. For Crystal Palace, Schlupp scored a wonderful goal, so I have to honorably mention him. Mateta, Olise, and Ayew. If Eze is back, then definitely choose him. When it comes to choosing a captain, when you look at the Arsenal fixture, you can see reason to have Saka or Havertz as your captain. When it comes to Burnley versus Newcastle, I can see somebody going for Isak. I could also see somebody being wise to go against Sheffield and choose maybe Wood or Morgan Gibbs-White in the Nottingham Forest matchup. In the Manchester City game, Haaland, Foden, KDB, even the Korean guy, are all valuable captains. Palmer for Chelsea, or Bowen, Salah, or Son. Maybe Olise as a sneaky differential captain choice. Or if you like Jeremiah Obiri, Bruno Fernandes. But the most important thing is to remember to make your team. It is tonight, make your team. Apart from that, see you later on the pitch. Have a great weekend. Bye.